everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome to my channel. It's called Everyday Dukan Diet. The reason I created this channel is to keep myself accountable and to keep motivated. I'm currently on the second phase, the cruise phase, and I'm halfway on my journey towards my target weight. So far I've lost 30 kilos and I've got about another 30 kilos to lose. So the first time I tried Dukan was 2.5 years ago, and I stuck to the diet very strictly. I've lost the 30 kilos, and then after that I started to relax the rules a little bit, and I've gained a little bit of the weight back. But I kept most of the principles, and if I didn't do that, I'm sure I would have gained everything back. Before I started on Dukan, I tried all kinds of diets, and they all failed. This is truly the diet that works for me, and I hope it works for you as well. After this festive period, a lot of us feel we need to do something to lose a few kilos, and a lot of people found this diet to be very effective. For me, it's not really a diet, it's more of a lifestyle change. And as soon as you know where you should make some changes, it becomes a lot easier. If you look at the books, have a look at the lists of food that you are allowed and create recipes around those foods. I will make it easier for you if you want to follow my channel. Every week there'll be a new recipe and you can make all your food Dukan friendly. We will cover from sauces to soups to starters. We will do some breakfast ideas. I'll teach you how to bake some bread today, for instance. And we'll do cakes, muffins, desserts, everything you need on a daily basis. I will also help you to Dukanize the meals so that they are also family friendly for the family members that's not on the Dukan diet. And that's all, really. So let's get baking. Thank you. Hello everybody. Okay, so today we're going to make some Dukan bread. This for me is the best recipe out of a whole lot of recipes I've tried. I've actually had my own bakery a few years ago, so I'm very passionate about bread. So for me, it was important to find a recipe of Dukan bread that I can eat every day, and that's allowed. So let me explain to you all the different ingredients and we'll make it together. So let's start with the ingredients. Okay, so let's have a look here. What we've got first is our oat bran. It needs to be the medium grain oat bran, not too coarse and not too fine. This is what Dr. Dukan suggested, so make sure you've got the right kind of oat bran. In this bowl here, I've got 1.5 cup of oat bran. So you are allowed on the cruise phase, which is the second phase, 2 tablespoons of oat bran. So when you look at your tablespoons level and you count out 2 tablespoons, I've got enough oat bran here for 8 days. So 16 tablespoons of oat bran. Or if you want to measure it in cups, 1.5 cup level oat bran. Then the next ingredient we have is wheat bran. This is a lot finer and this is full of fiber. So everybody worried about not getting enough fiber in this diet, with eating this bread, you get your daily amount of fiber in as well. So on the cruise phase, you're also allowed 2 tablespoons of fiber a day. So again, this is enough fiber for 8 days. So I will show you when we cut the bread that we have to cut it into 16 slices. So you've got 2 slices per day. So that's the oat bran and the wheat bran, 1.5 cup of each. Then in this little dish I've got 1 tablespoon, exactly 1 tablespoon of bicarb of soda. And then in the small dish here I've got 1 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. It doesn't have to be pink Himalayan salt. Any salt that you use every day is good. You can do a low salt as well, which is also great. So that is what we're going to put in our bread. Then I've got some seeds over here. You're allowed 25 grams of seeds as a tolerated item. So you can leave the seeds out, but I like putting some seeds into my bread. So here we've got golden and brown linseeds. I've got 3 tablespoons of the golden and 3 tablespoons of the brown linseeds. So that takes care of our seeds. The next ingredient that we're going to be needing is some eggs. I use large eggs, and these are our own eggs from our chickens in our back garden. And so if you can find free-range eggs, those are the best to use. The next ingredient is some water. I've just got that in the glass jug here. We're just needing a half a cup, which is 125 milliliters of water. Now, if you look on the recipe on the website, under the description, you will find all the ingredients listed there. We've already switched our oven on. Our oven is preheating at 200 degrees Celsius. And now we are going to be starting the mixing of the ingredients. I just remembered I've not talked about the cottage cheese. This is the final ingredient to go into our bread. In Bulgaria, we find this product here. It's called izvara, and it is literally cottage cheese or breakfast cheese. If you cannot find that where you are, you can look for products just labeled cottage cheese. I've got the light version here. And just make sure that the fat content is not too high. Over here, we've got 4.2%. And if you're finding that is a little bit too high for you, you can try using a product called Quark, if you can find that. This one specifically is 0.2% fat, so it's really low in fat. If you can't find that, you can also try a cream cheese spread. This one over here is 4% fat. So just make sure that you stay within your fat limit for the bread. You can of course use a very thick yogurt. That will also work very well. So the bread we're doing is called soda bread, and we are going to start mixing that together now. So first I'm going to be cutting up this cottage cheese because it's really thick. So I just cut this up in small pieces. Oops. Like that. And then I'm going to put them in a small blender. So if you've got a smoothie maker or a blender, anything that you prefer to use, we're going to be putting that in there. Just bear with me. So straight into your blender goes your cottage cheese. If you decided to use yogurt instead, you're going to have to reduce the amount of water in the recipe just to get the right consistency. This cheese is actually really good because it's not very salty at all. There we go. Now, after the cheese is in your blender, we're going to add some eggs. There we go. 1, 2, oops. And that just goes straight into the blender. And now we are only going to add half of the water, so it's basically a 1/4 cup of water to the blender. Close it up. Turn it over. We can blend that. Halfway through, I just give it a little shake. Make sure it mixes well. It's rather thick if you're using the cottage cheese, but that's fine. Okay, so we'll start mixing our dry ingredients. So first off, your oat bran. Then we'll add your wheat bran. After that, you can add your bicarb. Some people like to add the bicarb to their yogurt if they are using yogurt instead of cottage cheese. You can do it that way. Now I'm adding the salt. And I'm adding half of the seeds at this point. Get yourself a nice big spoon and stir the dry ingredients together. Make sure you mix the bicarb very well through the mixture. Just mix it by hand using a spoon. I'm making a small hole in the middle, or a well if you like. And now we're going to pour the wet ingredients into there. So it's really thick. And what I do now to get the most of that mixture out is I add the rest of the water into the blender. And I'm going to just give it a little shake. Oopsie daisy. Here we go. And that just goes in as well. And now we're going to start mixing it. Just give it a stir, fold in the dry into the wet until it's all nicely mixed. It's really not difficult. It's a really quick bread. You can put it together in 5 minutes. You'll see the ingredients start sticking together, and you can basically shape it into a ball. It's a very sticky mixture, so I wouldn't attempt mixing it by hand. Once it's all mixed, find yourself a 2-pound loaf tin, line it with some grease-proof paper, and you can start spooning the mixture into the pan. Just put it all in there. The bread doesn't rise an awful lot, so you don't have to be worried that it's going to be too high. Just make sure you get all the mixture in there. And now what I'm doing, I'm just pressing the mixture into the loaf pan. Not too tight, firm, but not to compact it too much. I'm trying to level the top of the bread. You can do this by hand, or you can use a spoon like I'm doing now. We just want to smooth the surface just so that it looks nice at the end of the day. Once you've done that, you can brush a little bit of water on if you wish, or you can just sprinkle your seeds on directly. They do tend to stick a bit better if you put a little bit of water on. Now you don't need to use all the seeds. If it's a bit too much for you, you can just put a little bit of seeds on. And now the bread is ready for the oven. So the oven was preheated to 200, but once the bread is in the oven, we'll turn it down to 190, and it's going to be in the oven for 50 minutes, so nearly an hour. So after 50 minutes we can check it. I must say it's a fan oven, so you need to make adjustments if you're not using a fan oven. So we'll put it in the oven and then we'll give it some time. Here we go, in the middle of the oven. Here we go, turn it down to 190. There we go. Okay, so that's the bread in the oven. So we're going to wait for it now, and when it is baked, we'll take it out and we'll show you what it looks like. And then we'll also give you some ideas of how you can serve it and how to portion it so that you get your daily oat bran allowance in. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and to like our videos. And the next video that I'm going to be doing after the bread will be showing you how to make some omelets. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Okay, bye. Hi everyone. Okay, so the oven timer has just gone off, so the bread is ready. We'll take it out and we'll show you what it looks like. All right. Here we go. So it's risen slightly. There we go. It's quite dark on top, but that's mainly the seeds. Put that down. So I'm going to turn the bread out onto the board. Just turn it over. Give it a little bit of a shake. If it sticks a bit, you might need to scrape the sides. Have a look here. Let's just see if I can get that bread out nicely. I also have a silicone tray I use sometimes, so those ones are very good for not sticking. So just loosen the sides. There we go. I think that will come out now. Here we go. So we're going to just flip the bread over onto the bread pan. You can take the piece of greaseproof paper off, or you can leave it on. It really doesn't make any difference. I like to take it off at this point. And you'll hear when you knock on the bread, it sounds hollow. You can also stick a pin in and it needs to come out clear when you take it out. So I've got a bowl of water here and I've got a clean tea towel or a hand towel. I'm just sprinkling a bit of water on. You just want the towel to be a bit damp, not soaking wet. And then we're going to roll the bread up in the cloth and we're going to leave it for a few hours to cool off. Even overnight is better for the bread to cool off, but as it is like this, you can slice it and eat it straight away. The problem is when you try to slice it straight from the oven, it sometimes crumbles a bit and the slice doesn't hold that well. So this is why I like to leave it to cool off. So just literally fold it closed in the cloth, like this. And then we're going to leave this now for a few hours. What I'll do is I'll leave it till the morning. We'll slice it up and then we're going to make some omelets. And that's all for today, guys. Enjoy yourselves. I hope you're going to try and bake this bread and leave me some comments and see what you think about it. Thank you. Bye. Good morning, everyone. Yesterday afternoon we baked some bread and we are back now quite a few hours later to see what the bread is looking like. The last time I left you, we've wrapped it into a damp tea towel. And then I left it till it cooled off completely. And after that, I've put it in a plastic Ziploc bag. So it's over here. You don't need to use a Ziploc bag. You can wrap it in cling film if you like. But this, I feel, keeps it fresh. You could also use a plastic tub that seals well if you've got one to fit. So I'm going to now show you how to slice the bread. So when we measured out the ingredients, I told you that we're going to have enough for 8 days. So basically, if you cut the bread, make a little mark halfway, that should be enough for 4 days. And again, show a quarter. So each quarter will be cut into 4 pieces. So try to cut them equal sizes. I cut the crusts as well as a slice. So we're going to be doing nice thick slices. It's roughly about 1 centimeter thick. And you will see the bread slices really well. The problem I've had with a lot of recipes, the bread was not elastic enough, but I'll show you here. The bread is definitely elastic. It's moist. You can eat it just like that, or you can toast it as well. So when you toast this bread, and you want a nice crispy slice of toast, you need to put it probably twice through the toaster. So what I do, here's our halfway mark, so we should have 8 slices now, is I put the toaster on medium heat and I toast it once, and then I put it on medium to high heat and I toast it once more, and that way it's nice and crispy. So you'll need to just experiment with your toaster to see what works best for you. Have a look here. So we've got 4, 8, 12, so we need to have 4 more slices out of the end bit here. And you'll see 2 slices is actually a really good portion. What I often do is I have 1 slice for breakfast and 1 slice for lunch. So there we are. So there's our bread, nicely sliced. Now what you can do, what I normally do is I take half of it, 8, and I freeze that straight away. I put that back in the bag. So that would be ready to go into the freezer. Or what you can do is you could put enough bread for 2 days into a single bag, if that's better for you. And the rest of the bread I put in a small container and I keep that in the fridge. Like this. So the bread will last at least 3 days in the fridge. But if you have it at room temperature, it will go moldy because there's no preservatives in it. So better to keep your bread in the fridge until you need it, or to freeze it for another day. So that's the end of this video. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video, so that you won't miss another one. In the next video, we'll be making 2 different kinds of omelets, and I'll show you the technique about how to make the perfect omelet. So we'll see you soon. Have a nice day. Bye.